What do you think lies behind having very high standards? I would think I find any book collection impressive. What a weird thing to dislike. I don't think these are standards. I think people have become less accepting of everything that isn't exactly what they have dreamed up in their heads. People did not always pick each other apart like they do now. People look for perfection. They have this idea of what they want in their head, and when a real human comes to fill that role, they bring in flaws and unexpected traits that don't fit this perfect picture the person has in their head. Thus, the person is no longer attractive. I think avoidant personalities will come up with flimsy excuses when really they are afraid of love and commitment, assuming it will inevitably lead to disappointment and abandonment. 1. The culture has changed from commitment first, sex later to sex first, commitment maybe later. 2. Cost of living, housing crisis. 3. Young men are making less money than young women, and women more often than men have college degrees. 4. Men don't have to sacrifice everything for the family, and women don't need a man to survive. I think as a whole women have higher standards right now and get turned off easily because of terrible dating experiences. This is the first generation technically that's dating almost exclusively off of apps and social media. This wasn't a thing 20 or even almost 10 years ago so much. The apps literally breed a mindset of I can always find something else, etc. There's a ton of options. But people on apps are typically single for a reason, and you find out why every time. Personally, I've gotten pickier with the men I date because I can't handle dating someone who's not worth my time again. It's happened too much, and now I don't have the patience for something that's driving me crazy. I'm fine by myself, and I don't need someone else there annoying me if they do something that doesn't align with me. Not to say some of what you mentioned isn't petty, because some of those reasons are incredibly petty, but it might also come from a place of someone just plain not being ready to commit to someone and looking for excuses. I think it's just there's no spark or any attraction, which makes people overly critical and demanding. They aren't attached, so not much is lost when the other person walks away. It's very simple to just meet someone new nowadays. Having high personal value, whether is valid or delulu, is a different question. Assuming by picky we mean having higher standards than what's normal, I'd say it's 2 reasons. 1. Someone is above average as a partner in looks, intelligence, personality, job, etc. and wants to find an equal. 2. Someone who believes they are above average as a partner and wants to find what they believe is an equal. I think you may have answered your own question. The media, social, broadcast, movies have presented polished and ideal images and profiles of people for so long that they are what many people go looking for in the real world. So they walk around with these measuring sticks calibrated to locate what they have seen on the screen and fallen in love with. Nothing less will do. Strangely enough, they find a world full of imperfect and flawed people who, many times, do not meet those high standards and are disillusioned and disappointed. X200B. On Instagram, everything is polished to the finest detail, no one is ugly there, no surprise there. Anything less than perfection is ignored by many people. It's pure marketing. My parents have been married for 30 years and still love each other, but part of that is because they had to. They had goals that couldn't achieve unless married, immigration, raise kids. They do love each other, but the beginning had an element of convenience and necessity that is just not a factor these days. So why marry anyone? There needs to be at least a small pressure from the outside society, or why marry at all? There's a point where you need to accept the person and make it work. This is why I think governments should do more to encourage marriage and family through stuff like tax breaks and better home loans. Settling down with that almost perfect guy girl looks much more attractive when you also have goals like save money, buy a house that the person can help you achieve. Everyone has high standards these days, but they are as unrealistic as they can be because there's no real incentive to settle down and compromise.